Let's get to the shout out, shall we?
I'm looking for a remix. And now the shout out.
Shout out. Shout out.
Valuable.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout
The
out.
pile of ideas was turned to low. It's quickly moving into a hot position.
And now the shout out.
Shout out.
Pause the video.
Shout out. Shout out.
Quickly into the hat.
Shout
My
out.
brain is
Shout out. Shout out.
Geopolitical politics.
Shout out.
Competition would start kicking in.
Shout out.
I'm not funded by the Koch brothers.
Shout out.
Do some research for yourself.
Shout out. Shout out. Shout out. Shout out.
Shout out. Whew. All right. Shout out Mike Gravelle. So, you know, I think we were pretty transparent. Look, I take this race incredibly seriously. I was really pissed. And the DNC is absolutely violating its own rules that Mike Gravelle isn't on that stage. And if John Delaney and Klobuchar and all these other idiots and jokers are on stage, it is a disgusting shame that Mike Gravelle, who outpolled all of them, who has accomplished more in his career than any of them, who has much more important things to say about the military-industrial complex, about U.S. foreign policy than any of them, it is an absolute shame he wasn't on that stage. But we didn't give him a huge amount of attention because, look, I'm sorry, electing Bernie Sanders is to use Teal Weinstein-like language. It's an inflection point. And it is a major potential, I would call it a mega application in dealing with our world systems crisis today. So I take this race really seriously. And frankly, you'll see that, like, I don't bend over backwards to always do a lot of like, oh, but Elizabeth Warren has good ideas too. Like, no. I'm a democratic socialist. Bernie Sanders and the movement that campaign represents an unparalleled opportunity. So I didn't cover Gravelle heavily because I'm not going to cover any other candidate heavily. This endorsement that Mike Gravelle did of Bernie Sanders was sharp, to the point, beautiful and clear. And then we're going to play some archival footage of Mike Gravelle putting the Pentagon Papers that revealed the lies about the U.S. government was telling during the slaughter in Vietnam. We'll play those two clips back to back. But first, Gravelle endorsing Bernie.
My name is Mike Gravelle. I'm proud and honored to endorse Senator Bernie Sanders for the presidency of the United States. Bernie has a program that benefits all Americans, not just the 1%. He will be a great president for all Americans. We have a simple choice. We can have a democratic socialism of Bernie Sanders to benefit all Americans, or we can have Republican socialism, which benefits the 1% and leads us to a constant state of war. The choice is yours.
Also, as always, of course, props to the Gravelle kids. They did an amazing job. Those kids are geniuses.
Those kids, they put in a lot of good work, I think.
They're really good. They know exactly how to do this shit. What are they doing next?
In capitalism, where you give credit to the figurehead sort of leader, like those kids, I think, deserve as much credit as Gravelle.
Unending. I think they convinced
Gravelle
them
is
to do
the
it.
vehicle, but they drove that thing.
They're awesome.
Having a blue check mark Twitter account coming out against the U.S. media in general was absolutely incredible for the past couple
And just
months.
those like awesome tweets where like they would just, I don't even remember, but just like the general like, like fuck you, Chuck Todd, from like blue check mark, like you're saying, David, like, like they've all decided that Mike Gravelle isn't serious anymore because he makes too much sense. But like, it's still a U.S. senator saying like, "Oh, blow me, John Delaney. Shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out of here, loser."
Yeah, I think if we're assessing the run there, A+, guys, good work.
A+. All right, this is Mike Gravelle. This is basically what he was able to do. And Emma Vigeland, our great friend Emma Vigeland, who's, of course, check out all of her work. She's brilliant and a regular on this show and a great reporter. She flagged this. He read 4,100 pages of the Pentagon Papers. These were the papers that Daniel Ellsberg released in the New York Times as a whistleblower because the reality of Vietnam was totally contrary to what the U.S. government was saying about Vietnam. And he used his senatorial privilege, basically. This is the time Nixon was trying to put Ellsberg in jail for doing this. They were trying to shut down copies of the New York Times. I mean, it's not nearly as bad, but it was certainly the precursor to the prosecution of Julian Assange and other journalists. And so could you imagine a U.S. senator doing this now? I'm going to read the revelations of U.S. civilian killings in Afghanistan on the Senate floor? Not likely. Mike Gravelle did it.
The papers do not support our public statements. The papers do not support our best intentions. The papers prove that for 20 years, and certainly for the last 10 years, we have been victims of our Southeast Asia policy, not masters of it.
There you go. Shout out, props to Mike Gravelle's, props to the Gravelle kids. Obviously, I'm sure they're still gonna be using the hell out of that great Twitter account. You've just watched a Michael Brooks show video, and you can watch all of our full main live shows every Tuesday night at around 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and subscribe to get all of the clips you want. We're covering the globe. We're focusing on international relations, the intellectual dark web. We're having fun. We're doing deep dives with a lot of amazing guests. Of course, become a patron for the whole thing at patreon.com/TMBS, or subscribe to this YouTube channel and help us keep growing and get that content out there. Subscribe below.